morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. I know so many of you all have busy schedules, and it is a beautiful Friday out there. So thanks for taking the time to join us. And I want to first start off by saying that it's actually kind of cool to be in this room because Kelly and I were actually here last night. We actually had this wall, this partition was removed, and this entire, both sides of this auditorium were filled with our kids from 4 of our local clubs and with Fidelity employees who volunteered to launch the second year of our e-mentoring relationship. So one of the things that we do at Boys and Girls Club, we have an absolute commitment to quality improvement, to continuous learning. You know, we test, we use data, probably more than any other nonprofit organization you might be familiar with, to ensure that the mission that we're delivering to our kids, the kids that really need us most, that we're always looking for ways to enhance outcomes, to make sure that we're really moving the needle of change on breaking the cycle of poverty, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But it's kind of neat that we're here again, less than 24 hours later for the same purpose, but for a different constituency and a different audience. Kevin and Fidelity as a whole have been just exceptional partners. I cannot speak enough to the good corporate citizenship that this company has displayed. And he was really eager to partner with us in a variety of ways. And I will tell you that Fidelity has really put their brand, their name behind Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Cincinnati. And not just focusing on Northern Kentucky, as Kevin said, we're really looking more regionally in how we work with our most vulnerable kids in our quite frankly, our most desperate neighborhoods around town. So I'm going to speak very quickly about a little bit about Boys and Girls Clubs and what really differentiates us from some of the other youth organizations that you may be familiar with. And we've got a lot of great folks in the room who are somewhat familiar with the clubs, but I will tell you that about 5 years ago, we really went through a dramatic change, and one that we're very proud of. So we'll talk a little bit about who we are and why there's a need for impact and how to get involved. And I apologize because this is a different version of PowerPoint, so you're going to see slight little glitches like those arrows being off-site. But who are we? We provide daily after-school and summer programming. That's really important because a lot of folks don't realize this, but from the time a child is born until they graduate from high school, they only spend 9% of their life at school. And most parents don't even think about that. I walk my 6-year-old to kindergarten every morning. Her school is kind of at the end of our street. And it wasn't until I started working with the clubs that I really realized how important the out-of-school time is. It's just as important, if not more important, than school time. For kids who are in our most socioeconomically disadvantaged areas, there's some unique things that come out when you do studies, and one of those things is that from the moment school ends for summer break until school re-engages in late August, early September, most impoverished students lose about 2 months worth of learning. So when they come back to school in the fall, their teachers spend the entire first 2 months of school just getting them back to where they were performing when they left. And that's really unique to the lower socioeconomic standards for kids. So when you look at more affluent families or more middle-class families, that doesn't seem to happen. So it's real important that we engage them academically and make sure that they're continuing to learn. We serve over 7,000 underprivileged kids in our most destitute neighborhoods throughout Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. We're located currently at 9 sites. 5 traditional Boys and Girls Clubs. Those are the brick and mortar buildings that you might be familiar with, where we own and operate a club. But we've really expanded into working directly with schools. We partner with a variety of schools, and right now 4 of our 9 sites are in Northern Kentucky. We provide a safe and positive environment. What really differentiates Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Cincinnati from other youth-serving organizations, and even quite frankly other Boys and Girls Clubs, is our unique program model. For example, we're one of only a handful of Boys and Girls Clubs organizations, and there's over 1,400 across the country and in every U.S. military installation abroad. So there's a lot of Boys and Girls Clubs organizations. We are ranked currently among the top 5% of all Boys and Girls Clubs organizations. And I think one of the reasons for that is our tremendous staff, and a few of those folks are here, and I'm going to introduce them a little later in the program. But also the fact that we actually employ certified teachers at all 9 sites. That's a significant investment that we make. We know that in order to move the needle of change and really help break the cycle of poverty, that the kids have got to perform in school, particularly with a exceptional focus on third grade reading and math and science STEM programming. But it's all about fun. That's the secret sauce. If it's not fun, the kids aren't going to want to be engaged. So one of the things that I love to tell folks that I'm really proud about with Boys and Girls Club is that we have been ranked the #1 youth charity in America for the last 18 consecutive years by the Chronicle of Philanthropy. If you're not familiar with the Chronicle of Philanthropy, it is, in my field, the standard-bearer publication. It's the Wall Street Journal or New York Times of the nonprofit world. So it really speaks volumes that for 18 consecutive years, we've been ranked the #1 youth charity in America. We have a tremendous reach with our volunteer network, and Fidelity has been a huge part of that. Again, I can't thank them enough. We have over 600 volunteers working both on a corporate level and individual level. We've got about 150 staff members across our sites, 32 school partners, 18 local corporate partners, and again, the 9 sites spread throughout the region. We're really emphasizing collaborations, if you will. And this is what I was alluding to earlier. This is where we really made a dramatic